Hello, 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 and welcome to day 3. As always, getting open the Facebook group. I'm excited to teach. Getting open the face. And as always, you get the echo because I forget to put my computer on mute. Okay. Hello everyone. As you're making your way to the live, just saying hi in the chat. If you're watching the replay, as always, putting hashtag replay in the chat so I know that you guys are here. Hello Lee. Hello Natalie. Hello, hello, hello. These are my favourite drinks ever. They're organic ginger sparkling drinks. And Craig just bought them, Craig's my partner, before the live. And I was like, oh, what an amazing day. We have ginger drinks. That's how I felt. So sometimes it's the little things really, isn't it? Hi Jan. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Hildegard. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Hi Tashi, Hannah, amazing. I'm excited for today. I've had such a wonderful day. You know, I just did a very, very quick story on my social media. It's an interesting thing when we talk about energy and strategy for business success. There's like these collective belief systems that we have around strategies that can sabotage things for us. And sometimes when we try a strategy and it doesn't work for us the way that it works for someone else, it's because our belief systems aren't the same as the person that's using that way and getting the results. So live events is a marketing tool we've used since 2021. Tams, when did we start? 2021? And I've always loved them, right? I've always loved them. And then I started realizing that there was all of these kind of thought forms that people had in the industry. Oh, they're so hard, they're so tiring. And I didn't realize, and I started taking on those belief systems. And I had to go, whoa, 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 Hannah. We love this. We love live events. We love live launching. We've always loved them. And it's funny, you know, I've worked on these beliefs and we're 3 days into a live launch. And I'm like, this is the most peaceful thing. I didn't know what to do with myself today. I sunbathed and coloured in for the last chunk of time. Because I was like, well, everything's done. This is all perfect. Everyone's being amazing. Like everything's working. And I just wanted to anchor that in, right? We've experienced live launches which have been extremely frenetic, right? And extremely, exhausting, but that's really been because our belief systems have been there. And so if you're trying a strategy right now and your belief system's like, oh, this can't work, I hate this is heavy, this is hard, don't be surprised if you're not getting the full result that you could if you just change your belief systems. So that's just a little nugget before we begin. Hello, Kim, Tamsin. Yeah, so Tamsin's put, we started in 2021. Tamsin was the first person to ever join the company and she's stayed, which is good. We like that. It's a good sign, isn't it? It's 5 years now, just under 5 years. I have an anniversary with Craig, my partner, and I have an anniversary with Tamsin, and they're both of equal importance, okay? So let me anchor you guys into where we are at in the multidimensional wealth formula. Okay, yeah, Lee said, awesome nugget, thank you. You're welcome. I'm like, let's just begin with something random that had nothing to do with what I was meant to be teaching today, but I'm bringing it to the table. Hello, Alison, Melanie. Anyway, let's anchor into, we're day 3 of the multidimensional wealth formula, right? So what does that mean? That means that today is like the final day of kind of what we openly marketed externally, but it doesn't mean that we are done. And so I'm going to make sure that you guys know what's still yet to come. Okay, some of what I'm going to say is going to make sense for those of you guys that have kind of been following me and doing lots of trainings with me for a long time, and some of the bits that I speak to now might not make total sense to everyone, but like I said yesterday, it doesn't matter at all. Hello, Caro. So we've got a bonus day tomorrow, which is about frequency and strategy. So just gave you a little nugget on that then. That's tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'm going to really be going through the ways that we can continue working together, right? It's a really special month to join us this April. I have to keep thinking, like, what fucking month are we in, right? I don't know if that happens to you guys. Like, time is so like, I'm like, what month, what year, who knows? I least of all don't know, right? So that will be tomorrow. Tomorrow is the final day to be on live if you want to be part of the energy healing giveaway with my team member, right? We will be announcing the giveaway winner on Sunday. So Sunday you have a session at 6 p.m. if you'd like to come and join, where we're going to be doing student stories, right? So for now I've been like sharing theory and sharing things that, you know, work, but I think what helps us, or I don't know if you guys can resonate with this, please share if you do. For me, one of the really big things that has been supportive on my journey is seeing other people make the impossible possible, right? When it wasn't just me in this like, okay, I'm going to create this completely different life. And I was like, okay, this friend that I know, or this person that I know online, actually, it really wasn't people in my, maybe you guys kind of came from a, or you still are in a similar community, right? Like I was definitely the only one doing this work in my like in-person community. So to begin with, I'd see people online and I'm like, oh my God, that person online has done it. Like if they can do it, maybe I can do it. And so we bring real stories so you guys can actually go, okay, this isn't just theory, there is something here. It's not that all millionaires are special, or it's not that all happy people are either lying. How many of you guys think that? Or if they're happy, they can't actually be that happy. They're not telling the full truth, right? It's not that they're lying. It's not that they're special. It's not that they got a genetics that you did not get, right? It is this work, right? Or different variations of it. So Sunday it's going to be student stories. We're going to have Hildegard come and speak. She's just joined our certification program, but she's going to be speaking more to scaling her business and things that she's done with us. And then we've got Sandra who's going to come, and Sandra's been with us for 2 years, Sandra, and she has done the certification, she's done the global uni, she was full-time and she's just gone in another job, and she's just gone into her business now, and she's done the trainings, and I want her to speak about the certification. So you can see she's going to speak to like spiritual gifts. I haven't told Sandra that this is what I'm going to ask her about, but she, when she did the certification, had all of her spiritual gifts come up. So lots of people that work with me in different programs, specifically the certification, suddenly get their latent gifts rear their heads, let's say it in that way. Yeah, Sam just put donkey's years. My favourite thing about Sandra is that she is the least French person that's ever existed, because I would never imagine that you would know the sentence donkey's years, and it cracks me up. You've just been in the UK forever. And Hildegard says that she's so excited, okay? So we've got, tomorrow I'm going to be going through products, and also talking about frequency and strategy. Sunday, it's going to be student stories. And then Monday, this is the session that I'm most fucking excited about. And you guys have to listen to this, okay? Yeah, Sandra's written there, I'm not French anymore. No, you're not. It's very odd and very funny. We tend to get people that are very culturally confused and mixed, probably because Tamsin and I are culturally confused and very mixed. The final session that I'm so excited about is on Monday, okay? Now, if you guys have come to free events that I've done before, I've always kind of completed a free event with something that's called Crossing the Terror Barrier. And this is an awesome body of work from Bob Proctor. I trained with one of Bob Proctor's top people a few years ago, and he would come on and teach, and he would teach something called the Terror Barrier. And it was, the terror barrier is basically how you feel in your body when you go through a massive up level or you quantum leap, right? So it's really a teaching that's taught for people that don't want to go on this step-by-step linear growth path. They want to go on this like exponential growth path, right? And it's awesome, and it's so brilliant, and it's incomplete, right? And so a lot of what I do, I love the mindset, and I want you guys, when I'm talking about like something being incomplete, I'm not saying that it's worse. I'm just saying that it's one piece of the puzzle, and something that we pride ourselves in the global uni is all of these pieces of puzzles, so you guys get this complete idea, right? And so since studying with Bob Proctor and looking at the terror barrier, I've done a lot of training, right? So even though I've built everything that I've built, I'm always refining my craft and always training with new people. And so something that's been coming through for me is like, oh, the terror barrier, I need to give more context to that. And so that's going to be on Monday. We're going to be talking about, you know, on Monday, the frequency process that we go through when we make a big leap. And it's going to be, yes, from the context of mindset, but also from the context of the body. And the body was the piece that was missing, right? So traditional mindset is mind, right? But without the body, you're talking about like half of an equation where really you need to understand both pieces because they fit together, okay? And then we're done. Then the multidimensional wealth formula is over, right? So it's still a lot of exciting things to come, right? But it always goes so fast. And I'm like, how's it gone so fast? So that was the first thing that I wanted to tell you about. The second thing I want to tell you about is that you guys know there are 2 giveaways, okay? You can still enter the sharing giveaway. Tomorrow I'm going to put a thread in the Facebook group, and it's going to say, did you share this with 5 people? And if you did, you can enter, and you can just put a little emoji in that thread, and we will count you. And we're doing this because we trust that you guys are building from energetics, which means you're going to tell the fucking truth, right? So you can put a little emoji there, and then on Sunday we will pull both giveaway winners, the sharing giveaway, and we will pull the winner for the person that does all 4 sessions, tomorrow being the final one, right? And the 3 home, that's not 4, is it? I always do this stuff in camera and I'm like, oh. 3, it's just more complicated because you've got to pull this little finger down, right? 3 homeworks. So you'll have seen that on Tuesday session, I gave you homework at the end. Some of you guys have already seen that I put on the second homework today, and some of you guys have already done it because you're fucking brilliant and amazing. Thank you. That's so great. The final piece of homework will be dropped in the group tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you it today. It's going to be dropped in the group tomorrow, okay? And so then when we go to do the giveaway on Sunday, again, there's going to be another thread that says, have you done all the homeworks? Have you been on all the live sessions? It's very, very hard for us to know whether you were live on all of the sessions because Facebook doesn't show us. So again, okay, we're going to have to rely on you guys telling the truth. But if you don't and you lie, you don't win in the end, do you? Because in the end, karma gonna come get you, right? Not in a horrible, scary way, did I tell you guys this story of, I accidentally stole an adapter and then someone stole an adapter from me, and I was like, well, that's fair. That was like such a brilliant example of what you do to others, right, will be done to yourself, even if you do not realize in that moment. And this is why I always say, there is not a paycheck in the world that is worth being out of integrity. And this isn't a question about morality. This is just a question of learning how to live in the universe that we do live in. Okay? Cool. I've told you all the things that you guys need to know. I've told you about homeworks. I've told you about giveaways. I've told you about threads. I've told you about bonus days. April is a very special month in the Global Uni. If you're a client that has completed a program with us and you've considered returning, April will be the final month that we offer ambassador pricing, okay? Until now, for returners, we've offered ambassador pricing because the thinking then, I'll actually share this because it might be helpful for some of you, the thinking then was like, oh, they're returning, like, you know, we wanted to create a sense of belonging and a feeling and a gratitude because people have been with us for a long time. However, when we're making investments, the whole point is the stretch. The whole point is like, I'm becoming bigger and bolder with each move, right? And so what we're doing is we're actually decreasing the investment, which makes no sense, right? When actually the point of the investment is that stepping into that new state of being. But also there was an out of alignment pattern in me. I'm not scared to tell you guys where I've been out of alignment. I will tell you because I learned my big lessons through being out of alignment, right? Where we kind of went into an energy of overgiving. And at the end I thought to myself, that's not been a balanced exchange. And sometimes we have to learn that in business. I'm doing high ticket sales in the Global Uni next month, and we'll talk about energy exchanges and like lines of resentment in pricing. And there's all of these things that go around pricing energetically, which, like, for example, if you're very, very much undercharging something, can actually block it selling, right? Because it's not in integrity. But anyway, that's a course next month in the Global Uni. We're not talking about that now. So if you would like to join and you want to take advantage of the ambassador pricing, now is the month. We will not be doing that in the future. Okay? I've told you everything that you need to know. Let's go into body-based business. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, I'm excited to teach this, okay? What do I mean by body-based business? I'm just going to check the chat because my phone wonderfully never shows me people's comments. Okay, cool, amazing. There were no comments, so there you go, brilliant. I can continue. Body-based business. What does it mean to you? When I say body-based business, what does that mean to you? What is a body-based business? Because we've all got bodies and we have businesses, so doesn't everyone have a body-based business? Like, what does it mean to you when I say that? What is a body-based business? Just say something, whatever comes to mind. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter here if you get it wrong. You can't actually get something wrong if you've tried. Beautiful. Feeling into and leveraging intuition, 100% part of it. Checking in on how you feel in your body before you make a decision. Yep. Feeling how your body feels with decisions. Yep. So a lot of us are focusing on the decision-making process. Beautiful. Yes. Tuning into the body, clearing anything that is blocking and moving forward. Yep. I often use muscle testing for this kind of thing. Yeah, we do similar things actually. Muscle testing, I'm known to pull a card. Tamsin will know that. I haven't presented you these techniques yet. Those ones stay in my, you know, have you guys seen those reels where you're like, I don't know how, like, you know, I met my soulmate, I don't know how it happened, and then it shows the woman, right, with the like cauldron and the cave. That's me. Feeling the anchor in the body whilst going into further steps. Yep. Feeling good in the body whilst doing business. Also listening to body prompts. Kim, I'm unsure. Possibly listening to your body, resting when needed, or following the soul to show the direction of the business. Yep. Doing business in a way that feels right. So all of this is correct. One centered around wisdom, healing, expression, transformation of the body, all physically, emotionally, energetically, and somatically. The body remembers, the body communicates. Yes, exactly, Hannah. So all of our weird decision-making techniques are coming out. Samantha's saying I do the pendulum. Samantha's just joined the certification, so I imagine the pendulum said, yes, Samantha, this is a great idea. Cara says, bringing attention to the body and the message. Yes, when things aren't working out, that would also be part of it. I do a weekly tarot pull as part of my weekly intuitive action planning. I love that. I love this. I love this, guys. I love this as part of a business conversation. Amazing. Okay, so for me, a body-based business is 3 things, okay? And all of these things are equally important. The first thing is a business that nourishes the body instead of depletes it, okay? That's a philosophy, but it's also a way of being, right? And I think has a tremendous value. For me, what I'm trying to do is break all the conditioning that we've been given that tells us that we have to sacrifice the body for the business, and actually kind of slowly move us to a way of seeing business that actually business should expand the body. Right? And I'm going to speak to that as well, right? So business that nourishes the body instead of depletes the body is a core value for me, but also a way of being within the business, okay? The second thing is body as the compass in business, okay? That's a way that I build. And when I don't build that way and I go more like logical, corporate, mainstream, I get massive, massive kicks up the bum that are painful. And yet sometimes I need 2 kicks to learn or listen. I don't know if you guys have needed a couple of kicks before you did, but I bloody well have, right? But now I really, really am like, not just convicted in this message. I've had the contrast, and we've experienced the contrast in the global uni, that I can say this with utter certainty, right? Third is that your body holds your blueprint. So we talked about that in Soul's Journey, which means like your highest wealth path, your highest love path, your highest legacy path. All of that exists within the body. But it also, actually a couple of you mentioned this, which is really, really cool. It also holds your wounding, right? So body is the compass, body holds the blueprint and the wounds, and business that nourishes the body, that does not deplete it. Hello, Kelly, you're all good. I wish it was only a couple of kicks before I shifted. That's hilarious. I mean, we can all resonate. We can all resonate with that sentiment, can't we? We're like, I know, I've been taught this lesson before, right? Like, and then, but when it does, when you get it, you know, no going back. So let's start with this concept of blueprint, okay? I've said this numerous times throughout the multidimensional wealth formula, but I really want to anchor this for you guys, okay? Because we are different. And there are too many people online teaching success as if it was one way for everybody, and that everybody was exactly the same. And the danger, I'm going to say the word danger with this, is that what people have done, especially when you don't see yourself in your full leadership, you don't see yourself like I am the one, I am the leader, I'm the one that's doing this, and which is really normal. It's been a big journey for me to get there, right? You see what someone else is doing online and you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to stop listening to myself, I'm going to stop listening to my way, I'm going to do their way. They make more money than me, they're older than me. God, this was such a big one for me. I had to decondition being a woman, especially being a young woman. And I'm 32, right? But in my head, I look approximately 5. And I think that is a good thing. But the point is, you know, for me, the conditioning was this person is making more money than me, therefore they must know more than me, right? And this person is a man and he's older than me. That was a big thing for me. And so some of you guys are men, some of you guys are women, some of you guys are different ages. So you might not carry the same conditioning. But you will have a version of something in your consciousness that tells you that this person is here and that person is there. And so when we've been speaking about consciousness shifting, right, this wave of consciousness shifting, one of the big shifts in consciousness is we've experienced a hierarchical society until now. So that means you've got people at the top, you've got people at the bottom. Now, if you believe that you're under someone, that's not morally superior, because you must believe that you're above someone. You see yourself in this natural pecking order. Now, with the shift of consciousness, we're going to something that's called heterarchy. And heterarchy is there is no one here and no one here. We are all unique, right? There is not above, there is not below. We are all equal in potential, okay? Not in circumstances given to us in this lifetime, because we are clearly not all born into the same situation. And I'm not going to spiritually bypass that. Do you know what I mean? That is clearly not true. But what we are equal in is potential in our genes and potential in energetics, right? Now, how that potential can be expressed does depend on the genes. And I explained this the other day. You know, Craig is a big guy. When he goes to sport, that's such a weird way to say. When he does sport, right, he has a huge advantage in physical strength. And yes, he's been training his whole lifetime, but you know, he was running like half marathons in an hour and 10 minutes without training in his early 20s, and all the men in the military would be like, what did you have for breakfast, Barlow? Barlow was his surname, right? And he would be like, oh, I don't know, was that fast? Like, that's been him, right? It's very annoying, but that's not the point. So there's clearly a gift, right, for him in the physical domain, but then there's different potentiality that he can live within that. So if he'd been sedentary his whole life, he may have not experienced his gift. It doesn't mean, right, that it didn't exist in the first place. So some of you guys have mystical gifts, right? Some of you guys have gifts in leadership. Some of you guys have gifts in wealth. Some of you guys have gifts in speaking. Some of you guys have gifts in listening. Some of you guys have got gifts in psychic abilities. Some of you guys have got gifts in marketing. Some of you guys have got gifts in strategizing, right? I don't know, I'm just trying to think of things that would fit within this category, but you will only get to experience the level of your gift that you hone. So I've always had a gift for teaching. I've always had a gift for serving people. I've always had a gift for the healing work, right? It's been with me since I was a little girl, but you cannot compare Hannah today in 2025 as me when I began. And you cannot compare me today, right, to me in 5 years. So a gift is innate, right? And the potentiality exists as an innate, and it's different for all of us, right? But then there's also the expression of that. And the expression of that is determined by your environment. And a part of your environment is practice, but another part of your environment is who you're surrounded by. So for example, you know, I went through a season last year where I was surrounded by very normal people. That's a weird, I don't want to use normal as derogatory, but people that didn't live in, you know, the spiritual world that I live in. So I was on a TV channel and, you know, what I was teaching was like over there, you know, for them. And so I felt this sense of like rejection towards my spirituality, and I kind of toned it down because I thought, oh, my business won't be successful, right? If I'm so much of myself. That's kind of what I learned from that experience. And actually that was perfectly incorrect. The more me that I am, and you can see this in your gene keys, the more successful I am. Not everyone will get it, but they're not meant to, right? And so I did this with my expression because of the people that were around me, but the gift was there, right? Whereas there are other people, for example, Tamsin, fucking off her head in the most wonderful way, right? She's support coaching you guys in the DMs. You can say anything to her. Do you know what I mean? She says absolute bizarre things to me all of the time. Before I teach here, she sends me chants that she's made up with AI to fluff me. I've talked to you guys about this. Apparently, a fluffer in porn is the person that gets them all hard and ready and to stay hard, right? And so Tamsin has done this for years. She'll send me these audios, right? And so with Tamsin, there's this, sense of I can fully express this, right? Because there's a sense of safety. So the gift is in with me, right? But being around her as an example, right? Because the environment impacts, there's more of that gift. Now we can even go to the way that we eat, our daily routines, right? The community in the Global Uni is that. It's a community that it allows you to become more of yourself that you even knew that you were, because you're surrounded by people that are on this path, right? And people that appreciate individuality instead of, follow the crowd, because if not, you make, me uncomfortable, which is a lot of what we see, right, in society. So we're understanding this, right? In our blueprint, which exists within our body, we've got gifts, right? Now we've all got, Jan said that's a new business idea, spiritual fluffing. I can't keep up with all the comments, but that one just made me laugh, right? Someone's got to do it, so maybe it's you, right? So there's these gifts that exist in your blueprint, and then there are also shadows, right? So when you understand your blueprint, and this is something that I do with my clients, when they enter a long-term program with us, they get access to a product we call the social media technique. And it's where you start to see gifts and you start to see wounding, right? May I ask if I understand correctly, the more that of you are, despite the environment, the better your business goes. I'm saying for me personally, the more me I am, and this is pretty, for questions, what we'll do is we'll save them till tomorrow. So I'll answer this briefly, but Tams, if you just copy this, I will answer all questions tomorrow. So if you've got questions, you can throw them in the chat. But like I said, I might not answer them fully today because I do want to get through content, right? But the more myself I am, and the more I align with my individual blueprint, the more successful I am. And that's true for everybody, right? And that's despite environment, yes, but I'm also cautious to control elements of my environment that are going to make it easier for me. So for example, healthy food. I've got a lady called Rowena, who does food for us once a week, right? So the health of my body, that impacts everything. Where I live, making it beautiful. There's all of these different things that an environment can help you bloom. I'm not going to go into that too much today. That's a whole different conversation. But yes, the more in alignment that you live to your blueprint, the more successful you will be. Let me make this more tangible for you, right? I teach my clients in this social media technique a way to discover their blueprint through their astrology, their gene keys, and their human design. Okay, and in this kind of, a lot of my clients have done it with me. You guys can, if you're a client and you've done it with me, you can throw it in the chat, just kind of what you got from this, right? But I want to give you an example between me and my partner building business and how blueprint matters. So I'm a nerd. I've always been a nerd. I've always known I'm a nerd, right? I would love it at school when they'd be like, you've got math homework. I would be like, excellent, I get to go home and do homework. And that's not even a joke. And I've always been like that. And my whole life, my parents have never had to say, Hannah, go and study, because I would be delighted to study. Give me anything. Give me math. Give me, not sure if I was a massive fan of history. Give me math, primarily, psychology, a little bit of French. Do you know what I mean? I was about it. Not that much about writing, because dyslexia, right? But everything else, yes, please, right? So sitting at a desk to work, this is a simple example, works for me. It does. I work long hours some days because I fucking love it. Actually, when I say a desk, I'm in my bed until I teach, right? So a business model where I'm online, where I'm creating products, where I only see people in tiny amounts when I'm ready to come out of my cave. And then I'm like, I love you, but very far away. Goodbye. Like, that's just me. It's always been me since I was a child. And I'm very, very happy living that way, right? And so my business model, you look at it, I run memberships. I run high ticket memberships. That's my business model, right? I do a lot of social media content. I don't really network. I went through a phase where I thought that I had to do that. Not a massive fan. I'm like, I prefer to just be places, and if you'd like to work with me, you can tell me. That's actually how I do it these days, and it does fucking happen, right? So that's me. But just because I'm teaching you this, or for those of you guys that are working with me or will go on to work with me, does not mean that you should do the same as I do to be successful. Because for some of you, the way that I've built my business is hell for you. And so lots of people that have been successful, they think that that's the way. So they create all of these courses. They're like, do this and it's going to be amazing, right? But they don't realize that there's individual difference. We've all got different blueprints. It's the same of like, someone that cures cancer through a diet, they write a book and they say, this cured my cancer, it will work for you. And then it doesn't work for everybody. Why? We are different. We're different. We are different, right? And I told this story when I taught this, this blueprint course in the Global Uni in February, I think it was, right? And it was kind of a little bit inspired because, was it before or after we went to Salamanca? Maybe I went to Salamanca with Craig afterwards, right? Me and my partner, we were going to Salamanca and when we met, he'd just lost his retreat business. So we were kind of in unequal financial positions. It's not really that way anymore, right? But it was at the beginning. And so because he saw that I was thriving financially with different business models, right? He felt pressure to build my way. And he was like, Hannah, I feel like I need to do something in the business. We're sat in this car. It's like a bazillion-hour car ride. It's ridiculously long with 2 pit bulls in the back. And he's like, have you got some time whilst we're sat in the car to talk about like the next thing to do in business? And so we were talking about it and he was like, I feel like I need to do a group program. And I was like listening to him and I was thinking to myself, I've never seen him look so bored. He's like, I need to do this group program. But what's that energy? If you felt that obligation, I need to do a group program. I think the group program will be nice. And I said to him, when did you have the idea for the group program? 3 months ago. Have you done anything? No. Why have you not done anything? And then he started guilting and shaming himself. Well, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I'm in sabotage. So many fucking people do this, right? Like, oh, I think I should do this and I'm not doing it because you don't want to do it, right? So I said to him, well, why do you even want to build a group program? And he's like, oh, well, a coach once said it was scalable. And I literally said, Craig, I'm bored. I can't even have this conversation anymore. What? Is that not the driest response? There is no moisture there. Oh, because it's scalable. And a coach once told me, fuck right off. You don't want to do it, baby. So you won't let it be successful. And so we did this I did the blueprint for him with his gene keys and his human design and everything. And it was like very clear. You should never run groups more than 3 people. Focus on very, 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 very high level clients. 6-figure offers and above. You could scale to 250,000 offers and it's in total alignment to your energy. I'm scalable groups. He's few relationships. His energy is invite people in. My energy is sit here, be me, if you like it, tell me, join a program. So 2 very different people in a relationship, right? Craig and I always say that we're complementary, we're extremely different, but in a wonderful, wonderful way, right? But if I tried to live like him because I thought it was the way, I would lose complete alignment to my highest timeline and blueprint, and vice versa. And so the first thing that I want us to really, really anchor into is there is not one way to success, but there are a few ways for you. And it's really important that you know that. And one of the ways that you will know, and yes, if you join a product with us, whether you buy the social media technique by itself or you join a long-term program, which I'll tell you about, right? But a way that you can know is from your fucking body. Because the thought of doing a strategy makes you want to pull your eyes out. There is a reason for that. But there is another strategy that makes you want to dance in the wind. By the way, dancing in the wind in my head is a pleasant experience, right? And so we have to dismantle a belief system to even give ourselves permission. Craig looks at me at the moment. He's like signing clients all of the time. He's just gone to the Arctic. He's, charging 10K to take, very, very high level men to the Arctic where they do all sorts of insane things. And then they come home very happy. It's absolutely bizarre. I would not be going, but they love it, right? And he comes back and he's like, Hannah, I feel weird. I feel like I'm playing and I'm making all this money. And he's like, and I feel like, for years of his life, he's been telling himself he has to sit at a desk and it has to be hard. And it almost feels like he's being naughty because it's so easy, because it's so natural, because it's so fun, because it's exactly what he'd want to be doing. Hanging out with cool as fuck people, having cool as fuck clients and going on amazing adventures. He's like, how can this be life? And so the conditioning that we have to break is that there's one way, that a guru knows more than you about what's right for you. And there is sabotage in this that I will speak to, okay? But also we have to let go of this belief. We really have to sacrifice it, flush it down the toilet, that it's meant to be hard. You know your gifts because they're easy. You know your gifts because they come to you naturally. I was watching Tams, I'm going to talk about, what's his name? Benny Bloom, Benny Blossom, Benny, help me. The young guy that was on American Idol and then he sang at the Grammys in that like blue thing. What's his name? Benny Blossom, Benny Bloom, Benny Bloom. Someone help me. Anyway, that man, you can look him up on YouTube. I'm sure it's very clear from how I described his name. That's such an example of a unique genius. He gets to American Idol and he's sat there and he's looking at the judges, and the judges, you can see in their head, they're going, oh, this guy's going to be shit, because they're saying, well, when did you start singing? And he was like, oh, well, just last year I learned that I could sing. And they're looking at him and they're like, just last year, it's about 16, 17, you learned that you could sing? He's like, yeah, and they're like, how did you not sing before? He's like, well, none of my family sing, so I never thought about singing, I never thought about performing. And he sits down on a piano, I think it is, in the audition, and it's absolutely breathtaking. And you look at him and you go, that is a gift. It's something that comes through you so naturally, with so much pleasure, right? That it's like, it's harder to not do it than do it. Thank you, Tamsin. Benson, boom. You can look up his audition. It's amazing. And you see him now. I actually secretly fancy him, even though he's got a moustache and he's 22 years old, right? I feel like I should admit that here. We're all friends. But he does this performance in the Grammys and you can see his talent has grown massively through mastery, but that gift was there. That was his destiny. And so you have got gifts, you've got things, right? And for those of you guys who are like, no, I don't. No, you've just not discovered them yet, but you do. Everyone does, right? And some of you guys already know them, but you don't trust them because it feels too easy. Okay? Your mind is always going to say, follow this proven system. Your mind's always going to say logic over feeling. And there is feeling that can be sabotaged and there is nuance to this, which I will speak to, right? But this is again a big shift that we're going through in consciousness. Until now, mind has led the way. Now it's mind and body. That's the shift that we're going through. If your mind's saying this is a logical thing to do, but everything in your body is saying, do not fucking do it, this is the journey that you're actually on. Can you trust that over anything else? Simultaneously with, right, your body might be saying, do this thing. I was speaking to my hairdresser last night. Oh, love. And he's had this massive dream his whole life to be freelance as a hairdresser, to not work in a salon, right? And he's an amazing hairdresser and he's an amazing person and I actually adore him. And, since he started doing my hair, he's quit his job, right? And to begin with, he was like, yeah, but my body says, just quit the job, do it, just go for it, do it. And then he's like, well, my mind says I'm being irresponsible, and all of this. And And he has quit it now, right? And he knew it in his body, but he was seeking that reassurance for something that he already knew because his mind said that's illogical. Some of you guys seek that reassurance too, but actually the journey is allowing you and yourself to be the leader, allowing you and yourself to be the one that knows, and not having to seek that reassurance, even from a tarot card, which I still do. Or from someone else, right? How many of you guys go speak to your partner, go speak to this person? When actually the journey of being sovereign is coming back to the self, right? So what you need to know is that every time you override your body saying, go this fucking way, even if you don't understand it, you slowed down your success journey. You just did. Because the mind's like, go this fucking way because God's lined up some treats for you. And your head's gone, oh no, that's not safe, or maybe I should do this, or maybe I should have a scalable offer, or maybe I should do a form of marketing that makes me want to hit my head into cement. And then you go, why is it not working? And your intuition and your body and God and source, or whatever you want to call it, is like, we keep fucking telling you. But you keep trusting this over something that's much greater. Infinite intelligence is so much greater than the mind. Bye, Zoe. That's the first thing. We're now going into body and decisions. I'm just making sure that I've got everything, okay? Your body knows truth. But this feels like a dangerous way to live. One of the big clearings we did in the energetic accelerator, was it last Friday, Tams, or clients? I can't remember, right? Is all of this patterning that we've got, right, that tells us to not trust the self, to not trust the knowing, not to trust the intuition. Lots of you guys come from corporate spaces where it's mind and urgency over everything. And so it can feel like a genuine threat to refuse to live in emergency. It can feel like a genuine threat to live from the body. So one of the big deconditionings that we've got to do is every belief that tells you that it's not safe to trust yourself. I do a whole module on this within the Energetic Accelerator, which if you join a long-term program, you will get as well, okay? I'm curious, let's drop it in the chat. Tell me a time that you followed your unique guidance and it took you somewhere awesome. And what is a time that you overrid, that's not the English, right? Your guidance and you ended up in a mess. I'm curious. Yeah, Tams is saying we did an EFT last Friday and around trust and boom, yeah. What's a time that you followed your guidance and it took you somewhere awesome? And what's a time that you followed your guidance and you ended up in a mess? Panchakarma in Bali, was that good? It took you there? You guys know the story of when I had that feeling I had to go to that shamanic training and it made no sense, but it literally got me here. It literally, that shamanic training and things that came after have made me just under 2 million, even though it made no fucking sense and I was broke at the time. Moving back home to Florida after quitting corporate, this is both. It led me to a chaotic mess, but also led me to a necessary deeper healing and realizations. Yeah, sometimes, guys, we all want the quantum leap, but we don't want the quantum crumble, where the old reality crumbles for the new reality to be born, right? And that's a whole other conversation. My third question is, right? Tell me a time you followed your unique guidance and it took you somewhere awesome. Tell me a time that you overrid your guidance and ended up in a mess. Spend some time reflecting on this, because through reflecting in this, you're getting closer to your guidance system. Tell me a time that you followed your guidance, but you couldn't hold the belief and faith that it was going to work. One of the super big things that happens for people, like, I took the leap, I did it, and then I panicked for every day afterwards and nothing planned the right way. So when we follow the guidance, we've also got to hold the belief after. There was a point, I was telling my hairdresser about this last night, where I was working 4 jobs when I began the business. My mum was dying, I was working 4 jobs, I had health problems, I just moved to a new place, I did not know the fuck was going on, right? And there was this moment, there was just this month where all of my English students, I taught English, left. And I was terrified. I was like, I was making not enough money as is. And I realized this moment of like, yo baby, you're gonna have to jump now. You literally, like, you're not given another choice. Like, you're gonna have to go. And I made a decision when my mum died, which was a couple of months after this, I was living in this flat share. And I just wanted a home. I just wanted to see the sea. I just wanted to have my feet in nature as I kind of grieved her death, right? And the story of how this house came in, it involves sex. I'd love to tell you it. I'm not going to fucking tell you it today because we did not have time. I'm just going to plant that there. It's not a naughty story in any single way. It's just a humorous story. The house came through someone that I went on a date with a long time ago, and it was his sister's home, and it was so random. But it was 600 euros a month, and I'd lost these contracts, and I was committing to this 600 a month rent, which for me was astra-fucking-nomical. And I was being presented with a leap, but there was no net. My family was in mourning. There was no support system. I was in a new place. I did not have a solid friendship group. I didn't have a solid business. But everything in my body was telling me, Hannah, you've got to do this. And it made no sense. It made no fucking sense. And I did it. But the reason that I landed this jump? Because I've made a lot of jumps after. Some I've landed, some I probably landed on my head. And I've seen a lot of people jump. People jump and they expect the jump to be enough. Oh, I jumped! And then we go into entitlement. So just manifest, please, life. It's not how it works. You've got to back it with belief. It took quite a chunk of time for everything to show up for me in this new property. But I didn't use that as a reason to drop my faith. This is all of the work that comes around decision making, right? I need to know it's right. No, you decide whether it's right. And then you search for the evidence that it is. I need to have all of my ducks in a row before I make a choice. No, you fucking don't. That's why nothing's really changed, right? Or it's changed much slower than you want it to. The body says move. Or the body says don't. The body says go. Or the body says run the fuck away. Can you trust it? And can you take the action? But taking the action is step one. Mastery is trusting yourself after the action. Okay, cool. You guys are writing so much and it's so fucking awesome. Keep sharing. And when I go after, if I miss some of the things, I will type in it as well, right? So, old paradigm is follow the guru, follow the mind. New paradigm is your body is the compass. And this is why I say in the Global Uni, I don't teach you to become me. Please don't. That is taken. I am way too weird for you to impersonate. Do you know what I mean? Way too odd of a species, me. No, right? I don't say come to the school and learn to do it my way. No, I said come to the school and do it your way. Come work with me and learning to be more of yourself. That's new paradigm. And part of that is learning to connect with the body, learning and understanding your guidance system. There are so many more examples to this. I know in my body when someone's an ego and there's no point having some form of argument or discussion. I know in my body when someone is safe. I know in my body when they're not safe. I chose Craig with my body. I didn't choose him. That sounds bizarre. It's not how I meant it. By that I meant I felt such safety around Craig when I first met him. And I went to places where I could just connect to the feeling of him and long-term relationship. That's why I chose him. And so what tends to happen here? Yes, we've got blocks around self-trust. Yes, we've got blocks around intuition and things that I've just spoken to, and then not trusting the leap after you've made it. And so then you create these scrambly results, right? Unnecessarily scrambly. Sometimes life just is, right? And it's not a big deal. It's just that things are realigning. Quantum crumble to quantum leap, right? But the problem that people face is, yes, what I've spoken to that we deal with in the energetic accelerator, is that we're disconnected from ourselves, right? Because we live in this really heady society and we're telling ourselves that we're going to build success by being at our desk and nothing else. We're not prioritizing relationship with the body. And it's like any form of relationship. If you had a friend that only called when they had a problem, how would you feel about that relationship with the friend, right? Now, body and source, very forgiving, right? But there's something to be said about nurturing one relationship. And that relationship, right, of all is first here. Because the relationship that you have with here is going to impact the relationship that you have with everything else. I speak a lot about spiritual gifts coming on board, which was never my intention at the beginning. Why are they able to? Because there's space in my life, however much of a nerd, and I love a desk. I am. That is an embarrassing fact about me, but it is actually in fact true. I also have an hour every single morning that is opening to guidance. I close my day that way every single day. It's probably like 80%. On a Sunday, it's like I will do something that connects me to where I'm going in terms of frequency. I'll do my practices, right? And so I'm holding this space for guidance to come through. That's part of the way that I live. It's not I've done it once, so I completed spirituality. It's a way of being. And so that's why I talk about in the Global Uni Integrative Healing, we don't teach a 3-step plan. We teach you a way of being where you become more of yourself. It's so sometimes difficult to market. It's like, how the fuck do you explain this, right? Where you become more of yourself because you're more connected to yourself than ever. And that's why it's a digital library, right? Where you have a trillion, not a trillion. We have a lot, but it's not a trillion. I don't want to falsely advertise this. It's probably about 500 classes total. I don't know, tap that you can go count it. There's 430 just on one podcast, right? But that's why we've got all of these aspects of the Global Uni, right? So you can actually create this relationship with your body, so you can understand your body, and your body can become the compass. It always was. You've just got to learn how to listen to it. Okay? There's so much more that I can say on this, but let's go into body first business. In a typical Hannah way, we're going to finish 10 minutes late. But you guys knew that I was going to finish late because I am, in fact, a Spanish person. And for those of you guys that don't know what it means to be a Spanish person, it means that when you arrive 20 minutes late somewhere, you think that you're early. Awesome, Tashi. Okay? Body first business. Okay? I am of the belief system, and it's taken me a really, really long time to get here. Because I used to believe that it was unsafe to take time off work, that if I stepped back, everything would fall apart, and that, I've been talking about this a lot in terms of leadership. For those of you guys that are leaders, we were talking about this in our Top 1 club, right? There's been phases in the Global Uni where we've been in a constant state of emergency. A client needs this, a client needs that, a client's having this process, a client's having that process, a client's feeling this. And Tamsin and I, we're in this constant state of like emotionality. And so we had to learn energetic boundaries. And energetic boundaries are primordial to sovereign leadership, which is, yes, I'm a leader and yes, I'm in my heart, but I'm not mistaking being a leader and being in my heart the same as, putting up with entitlement or putting up with disrespect, or, when you have a tendency towards empathy, which I'm guessing majority of people here do, right? We can confuse that with merging with other people, and we take on everyone else's emotional weight and we take on everyone else's experience of life. And then you wonder, why the fuck do I feel like I'm always in chaos? So the first thing of a body-based business is understanding energetic boundaries, which is, again, because we're going from tribal to sovereign, okay? Tribal is belonging above everything. This is a consciousness thing as well. Like, I've got to belong, I've got to fit in to being sovereign. Who am I? My unique genius, my blueprint, right? Love, community, but boundaries, right? It's like a cell. If everything is going in and out of the cell, right, then that's not healthy. Something's gone wrong. The cell can be in formation doing all the jobs with all the other cells and having a lovely time and doing whatever these specific cells are doing, but we want to make sure that those boundaries there are not too permeable. Some amount may be okay, doesn't matter what cell, it depends on the cell that we're talking to, right? So it's the same if we've got businesses, if we're in leadership, right? That's one way that we want to be thinking of body-based business and, you know, being healthy. But we also need to decondition ourselves, right? That looking after your body is risk to your success and risk to your wealth. That is the first piece of deconditioning that we need to do. We did that in the energetic accelerator. We're bringing in another energetic accelerator in the global uni. Not in May. May is high ticket sales. In June, Tams and I did the schedule this morning, right? There's a couple of things that I want to say here. We need to decondition that looking after our body means being irresponsible in business. We need to connect with our bodies to know the signals, right? And understand when we're in emotionality and sabotage, right? Versus, no, Sandra, we've got a bonus EA that's coming in. We've got the Energetic Accelerator Pro happening in June. Sandra's put it's usually in December because we usually do the same programs. But when I get excited and I'm like, I've got more to give, then new programs come in. Right? So we want to be doing that. We want to be connecting to body, but we also want to be understanding, and this is something that you can understand in your blueprint in the social media techniques. We really need to rename that, don't we? Yes, I'm just putting all the little eyes. What is that? What is the EA Pro? Right? Every single body has a natural, oh, Natalie! How exciting. I'm glad that you're excited. Every single body has got a natural rhythm, okay? Now, you may not have been taught this because we've been taught that consistency, I'm literally coming here and I'm saying everything that you've heard about success is a fucking lie. I'm not saying all of it, but I do want to shift some of these narratives because they're harmful. We've been told that if you're consistent all of the time, that you are a responsible person. If you're leading your life from your logic and your mind, you're such a responsible person, and you're actually cut off from all of your medicine. You're cut off from everything, right? And so we've got something that's called a natural rhythm within each body, right? And so this is natural law. If you look at different countries, right, we've got seasons, but when the seasons come and go, it depends on the country. How long spring is depends on the country, right? If you look at a day, right, you know, you've got dark to light. So we've got these spirals, and spirals exist in everything in nature, right? But the length of the spiral, you know, the exact kind of layout of the spiral is different depending on the thing. Right? So that's the same as humans. We've all got, right, some level of natural rhythm and spiral, right? You can even see in waking and sleeping states. But these waves of being, these spirals of being change depending on your unique genetic makeup. An example, very conveniently, Tamsin and I have got a very, very, very similar rhythm. And the fact that the way the global uni is set up in my business, which felt like a bit of a risk, I was like, oh my God, when I started this, are my clients going to be mad if I do this? I teach for 3 weeks. You can get me on a call for 3 weeks, and for 1 week, ta-da, bye-bye, no, me, rest, right? And so the agreement in this structure is 3 weeks on, 1 week rest and integrate. And then I'm thinking about like, what we're going to do next for marketing, what we're going to do for the products, what am I going to teach, right? I'm really like, kind of like planting seeds, nurturing myself, probably being needy to Craig, needing my back tickled, you know, those kind of things. It also gives the way the business is set up now, and it's taken us a chunk of time. If Tam wants to go away for a weekend with her partner or something, it's like that's the week that you've got that spaciousness. Now, the way that it also works within the year is that I will do 2 to 3 months intense teaching where I will do longer intensives, or I've been doing lots of lives, I've been doing lots of clearings, right? So that's like a high energy moment. And the reason that I can live launch and not feel depletion is, yes, beliefs, but next week is integration week, it's the rest week, right? And that's sacred. That's as sacred as being here with you guys. Because if I didn't have that, I would feel resentful being here because I'd be fucking tired. I would be depleted, right? And there's so many ways that I've learned this in business. You know, I used to hire agencies. And what I found is that the people in the agencies for the team would be so exhausted that the amount of mistakes that we would have as a team would be astronomical. And I realized, oh my God, I've actually written this in my contracts. This is not a joke. This is how much I believe this. Like, you commit to looking after yourself. Like, it's a non-negotiable. You may not work here if you don't look after yourself. You must rest, you must sleep. Like, how patronizing it is that I've said that. Like, it's so weird, but it's something that I've learned. You've got to respect your individual rhythm, because if not, the work that you do, right, will not be of the quality that we hold within this company. And so I'm saying this for you guys so you know how I lead my life, and I did this by actually realizing what it's like to be in depletion and choosing not to live that way, like I have been depleted, right? And choosing another way. But also from seeing like the inside operatings of different companies. And you know, we've got Christy, you're probably watching the replay, we've got a client, Christy, she's been with us for fuck knows how long, she's certified as well. She's another, Tamsin calls them lifers, that are just like part of the family, you know? And she was working in Zoom, or she just completed her time in Zoom when she, in a very, you know, high up position when she joined us. And, you know, there's a lot of things that I teach here, and I don't come from tech, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I don't, right? And so I used to sometimes think, oh, maybe this is just our industry or just this. And, you know, she'd be like, no, that's actually exactly the same in the massive tech companies. And it reminds us, right, nature, like, if you want to know the universe, know yourself. Natural law exists in everything, right? Whether it's a small business, it's the same patterns as it is a massive business. Like, it's the same work, right? And so the way that I speak to understanding natural rhythms, it's like, if you look at farming, there was a time where farmers respected the soil. I know this is a weird conversation for me to go into, but it's important. And so what would that look like? Well, farmers would farm in the soil until the point that they felt that the soil needed to rest. Many of you guys might know this. And then the soil would rest for a year or two where they wouldn't plant. But then we got to the point of like industry, right? Which is the human shadow, which is more, no matter the cost. That's a human shadow that we're moving out of. There's not enough, more. Don't be effective with your systems. Don't see where we're wasting, just create more. It doesn't matter where we're wasting. Don't look at the energy links, just more, right? So we see this in farming, we see this in our businesses, we see this in our lives. And so what's happened as a byproduct of that is a problematic in our society, because a carrot doesn't have the nutrients that it did when our parents were children. The quality of the carrot, right, is significantly reduced because of depletion of the soils. And then they've tried to use chemicals, right, to rectify a natural process. But those carrots would have had the vitamins if that land was just allowed to rest. And so I know it seems like I'm speaking about soil, which I am, but you're a fucking fancy carrot. And if there is not rest within your business strategy, the work that you're doing is not going to be as good, because you're tired, you're depleted. The best ideas I get, right? Bathing, walking Maya. Maya is my pit bull. She is the girl pit bull. We've got Misu, boy pit bull, Maya, girl pit bull. Huge, both of them. Or I might be like talking to Tams, right? Or I might, where do ideas come from me? I'll be watching Netflix and someone on Netflix talks about, I don't know, something that seems so abstract and it connects something in my brain and I'm like, this is a program. Or sometimes I will be, biggest nugget from today is you're just a fancy fucking carrot. Yes, thank you for filling that out. And even hearing it back, I'm still believing that statement, right? I'll hear something on Netflix, or for example, you know, the EA, the Energetic Accelerator, that was basically put together for my clients. I was like, what are you guys struggling with, right? People are like, oh, I feel guilt around wealth. Oh, I'm struggling with self-trust. Or, oh, I've got problems around saving. And so someone will say something and I'll have a whole program, like boom, right? And it's so easy. It's so natural. I was in a relaxed state of being, so it comes through. Tam's put, of the year, Jan. That's the best thing that she said yet, because we know that I'm going to say something else wild, right? And so this is our philosophy. There's two things that I want to say more on this. A team I've put that is exhausted is a team that doesn't function. A human that is exhausted is a human that doesn't function. And a carrot that is depleted is a carrot that is not of optimal nutritional value. Take that piece of information and do with that what you may, right? And so again, I'm going to debunk another thing that you've been taught. Success does not love speed if you're running in the wrong fucking direction, right? Craig, from being in the military and doing wars and shit, right? He loves it when I talk about it like that. I'm like, oh, Craig was just in the military and he was just like, you know, but he's so proud of his 3 medals. And as an English girlfriend, everything that I can find to rip him to pieces about his 3 medals is genuinely one of the joys of my life. Anyway, obviously being on military ships, and he ran the kitchens in the Navy. So when he says he went to war, did he? Don't know, just saying. None of you guys are going to find that funny or give a fuck, because it's not banter that you've got with me, but I'll just put it in there because I'll feel good knowing that this will be on YouTube for life, right? But when he got off the ships, right, he had this automatic pattern, and this has been a massive deconditioning for him of like, he's always in a rush, and he'd just get up and he'd be like doing things and he'd be agitated if it wasn't all happening. And I'm very lazy. I'm very hardworking, but I'm deeply lazy. And this is something that I'm very proud of. And I move slower than a snail in the morning. It drives Tamsin insane because she gets up and she wants to go for a walk, and I want to get up and just look at the ceiling and have a coffee and lay down and put my feet in the air, right? I'm a projector in human design. So like, I'm lazy, I'm slow. And there was one day where I noticed that he had all of this agitation in him. And I was like, babe, where are you going in a rush to? Because he was in such a rush. I was like, where are you going? And he looks at me and he says, I don't know. And that was such a big aha moment for us both, right? And I said to him, babe, you're in a rush, going nowhere. And this has begun to be a thing for us. He'll say to me, Hannah, are you in a rush going nowhere? I'm saying, are you in a rush going nowhere? Success doesn't love speed if you're pointing the wrong fucking direction. So many of us, there's a distinction between being speedy and being frantic because you're scared and you're trying to run away from a made up scenario in your mind, right? Because there's things that are like operating in your subconscious mind that you need to clear. Like you might be looking like you're doing a shit ton, but obviously it's going nowhere because success is over here and you're working really hard, but all you're thinking about is a scarcity. So you're actually running very, very fast away from success. But you're exhausted and you don't feel good in your body, but you've been running the wrong direction, right? And so success loves speed when there's alignment. And so there will be times in your business, in your life, where there is a lot to do because it's aligned. You're like, oh, there's so many things coming through. Like there's sometimes that I feel like manic because I'm having so many ideas, right? Tamsin is probably at her wit's end with me. This is a real thing. And I'm like, I've had this idea. I'm going to do this idea. Let's do this. But it's like, it's all pouring through me. It doesn't feel hard. Externally, I probably look like I've lost my head, but it feels so easy because I'm like, yes, this is it. This is perfect. And there's times where alignment means have a nap. And so this is the thing again of like internal guidance system over what you think you should be fucking doing, right? Sometimes I post a bazillion times in a day because I have so many things to say. And sometimes if I'm honest with myself, I'm like, I have nothing to say. And if I have nothing to say, this is going to be wild. Do you know what I do? Say nothing. And I know that goes against every fucking course that tells you to post every single day. But sometimes I know that if I post, it's going to be shit. Like, I just know it's going to be shit. Not because I've got not good words, not because I'm having a dyslexic moment, but because it's not in alignment to say anything. It's alignment for me to kiss my dog. I was going to say hold Craig, but I don't really hold Craig. He's too big to hold. Craig holds me, right? Watch some shitty Netflix. And then what's probably going to happen is I have an awesome idea that afternoon. Please notice the distinction, right, between I haven't posted in 3 months because I'm in self-sabotage. That's very different. but sometimes that you just need a rest. And you putting off that rest is what's keeping you stagnant. Okay. Doing the aligned thing that comes from the body, that is precise, is always going to give you a better result than trying to do everything poorly. Okay? There's so many more things that I could talk about here. Rage, telling you about boundaries, how emotions are signals to things, how your psychic sense is actually through your body. There's not space or time for me to talk about it today. That really is a more complete topic within a global uni program, right? Which brings me to sharing how we can continue to work together, which I really, well, I mean, 2 of you guys have already signed up with us, and I know that there are other people interested. And honestly, if you guys feel aligned to my philosophy, it would be such a joy to support you in creating whatever you're creating next. And if it doesn't resonate, that's also cool. But I want to tell you very, very briefly about the Global Uni. Yes, exactly, Chantal. So the Global Uni of Integrative Healing is my kind of like primary membership, right? We've got other options, but the Global Uni is where you become more of yourself, right? But the way that it functions is that we raise the bar on every single area of your life via a monthly intensive. And in that monthly intensive, we take a topic and we go deep into it, okay? So this live event has been... Bye, Samantha. This live event has been a little bit different because instead of going specific, I've tried to go really wide. So you get a little bit of lots of things, but in the Global Uni Intensive, we go specific, right? And so all of these programs that you're hearing me about are Global Uni Intensives, right? The social media technique was the intensive that we did in February, and that was the blueprint, right? What are your wealth shadows? Some of you guys, your wealth shadow will be impatience. Some of you guys, your wealth shadow will be, for example, me. Well, Craig is the same. If we try too hard, we fuck shit up, right? Which is wild because you'd think trying hard is a good thing, okay? So that's, you know, February. In March, we did Love and Money, which is basically your relationship blueprint for your high achieving, big dreaming human, right? And so that's where we really break down relationships. Relationships are the easiest fucking thing in the world for me, romantically. I've had to work on other contexts in my life, but it's one of my favorite things to teach. April, we did the Energetic Accelerator, which was lots of clearing. Next month, we'll do high ticket sales. So physical strategy, because I teach a lot of strategy like I teach this work as well, both, right? And then we've got the EA Pro, and it kind of goes like this, right? So I'm not going to list all of the programs that you get every single month, but what you need to know is that each month is an invitation to raise the bar on an area of your life. What I hope that you've grown to understand through the way that I've taught through these 3 days is that for me, I believe in excellence as a standard, like, right? But there is a big distinction between perfectionism, which is harsh and hard and painful. And many of us think that that's what excellence is. It's not. For me, excellence has to have health of the body and the life simultaneously, right? So we hold high standards and we attract people that want to hold high standards in their life or already do, but it's not at the cost of, okay? So I want to be really clear with that in case your mind goes to that. The bonuses at the moment, which I explained to you, I love doing bonuses because it's like getting a free gift in a luxury store and you're like, oh, I came for a skirt, but actually I've got a hair tie, whatever it is. That's me. That's literally me. I'm always looking for reasons. Oh, I just needed to buy that dress, you know. I actually don't need a reason, as you can probably tell. I had someone once say to me in Marbella, I've never seen you wear the same outfit. I do wear the same outfit. I'm not saying that, but I kind of felt affirmed because I love clothes. Anyway, you've got the Global Uni. You've got the Power Healer certification where I train you guys in our methodology. I train you in something that's called the Integrative Healing System, which is the system of healing I put together after over a decade of being in personal development and like multiple 6 figures invested in personal development. So I always say for the certification, you can spend 10 years being a weirdo in a cave like me, spending all this money investing and putting things together, or you can just come train. It's 22 modalities. I haven't seen a certification like this on the market. You get the business training from the Global University as well. We do physical healing, we do emotional mental healing, we do spiritual healing, and we do energetic healing. And it's various modalities, and it's you're going to go through a rebirth when you do it. Sandra will speak more to that on Sunday, but you will go through a rebirth doing it. There is no way you can start and end the same, right? So that's the Power Healer certification. And then we've got the Top 1% Club, which is kind of like my most intimate crew of humans that are in the global uni, but also want the power of the mastermind and also want the power of having hot seat healing with me. It's kind of the closest that you can get to one-to-one without being one-to-one. You also get inner edge leadership calls with my partner, Craig, and you get 2 luxury experiences. So the first one is in June, in Marbella. The second one is in either Morocco or the Sahara Desert. We haven't decided yet, in December. You've got all of the information for each of these memberships within the brochure that's in your emails. If you're watching the YouTube, you've got it on the kind of information underneath the YouTube video. And if you're in the Facebook group, I will post it after today's call. So you've got all of the information there, and I'm going to go into it deeper. But bonus wise, you join any of these programs, the cert is closed and there's a wait list. I'll explain that in a second. But you choose any of these programs and you will get the social media technique, which is the blueprint basically course. You'll get Love and Money, which is the relationship course. You'll get the EA from April, which is all of the clearing, right? For free. So if you bought this all separately, it would be just over 5K. That's 5K in bonuses because you only get the course of the month when you're in the global uni. And also you get to do multidimensional business with us next month, which is all about high ticket sales and like all of the stuff that comes up around that as well as the strategy. So whether you join the global uni or the top one, you get that course stack. Okay. Now, if you, my friend, are like, man, I see you. I know I want to work with you. You were talking to me in your head, by the way. That wasn't clear. And you're like, I'm going all in, and you pay in full. We always do bonuses for people joining. We love the fact that you joined us. We've got such a beautiful, for me, it feels like a real family. And one of the things that I'm very proud of is that I think, and our clients can say our clients come to these free events, right? There's a sense of belonging and kind of a sense of home, right? But if you decide, fuck, Han, like, I'm all in, and you pay in full for the global uni, you will get 3 months of one-to-one with me. So that's 3 one-to-one sessions, right? If you go, Hannah, I'm doing it, I'm paying in full, and you pay in full for the top one, I'm going to meet you in that decision, right? And I will do 12 months of one-to-one with you. So that's 12 calls, right? Which is insane, okay? To be clear, I don't take on a lot of one-to-one clients. I've scaled everything through groups. That's my blueprint. So when I take on one-to-ones, it's because I'm like, yes, let's do this, okay? If you're curious about any of this being a match to you, you can just message me, right? And just say, Han, like, do you think this is an alignment? And I'm happy to answer any questions. For the certification, the way that the certification works is that we open doors every 3 months, okay? And so in the certification, every 3 months is a different body of healing. Yeah, that's the way that it works. So we've just started the soul's body. So we're doing like karma, soul's contract, all of this stuff. And if you really, really wanted to join now, you could. I've just had someone join this week. Kind of technically doors are closed, but if you're ready to like just go on this, we can make that happen. If not, in the email, there is a wait list. Doors will open in June and doors will open in October again, okay? Now, currently the certification is 25,000 euros for the year. I don't know what it will be when we next launch, okay? So if you wanna solidify that price and join us when we open doors again, you can put a deposit. If you're like, actually what I want to do is I'm going to pay it all now, I'm that committed to it, we'll give you the global uni for free until we open doors in end of June, okay? All of this is written out in your email. If you're like, that's a lot of information, you can read through it. But Tamsin is here for a discovery call, so you can text Tams. She's in your DMs if she could find you. Sometimes people sign up with odd names and we're like, who's Buzzed Goat? Who is Buzzed Goat? We've been wondering for years. There's this email address, it's Buzzed Goat. We don't know. If you're Buzzed Goat, we would love to meet you. We have no idea who you are. We try and reach out to all of you. And if we haven't, it's because we haven't been able to find you. But you can ask Tams any questions. You can message me on Instagram, Facebook, both is fine. What's the next phase of the cert? What body are you next opening? Energetics. So soul, then it'll be energetics, then we'll go to physical, then we'll go to emotional, mental. That's the way that it works. And it's a spiral, so it doesn't matter. You'll still be complete because we do the complete processes through the body. So yes, Jan, feel free to message Tams and hop on a call and you can discuss that, or just text her your questions and we can answer that. Okay, 20 minutes late. It's not great. I might get told off by Tams, but here we are. Tams is the only one that tells me off. Tamsin and Craig in my life, they're the ones that like keep me humble, I think I would say. I think I've given you all the information. I'll go through all the products properly tomorrow. The brochure does really like give you all of the, Jan's like going to get a new email and it's going to say fancy fucking carrot at gmail.com. That's so fucking funny. That would be awesome. Yeah, buzzed goat, mate. What? We don't know, but we would like to know. So if that is you, please let us know. Tomorrow I'll go through things more. I'm not very good at like telling you the exact deliverables in offers because I'm a feeler. I'm like, this is for me, this is not for me. So if you do want to know the exact deliverables, please read the brochure. You can ask me and I will list it for you, but I'm not very good at telling people and I don't seem to be improving over the years, but people do keep continually joining us. So I must be doing something right? Which says breaking all the rules of marketing, right? Because marketing says all of the exact value and the no, I don't really believe in any of that, as you can see. Okay, that's everything from me. Have a fantastic evening. I'll see you guys at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Tamsin's gonna call herself spiritual fluffer at gmail.com. Awesome. It's good to see that you guys have got lots of inspiration coming through, and homework will be on a thread tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao. Bye.